Hello, my name is Staehle. I'm the owner and winemaker for Enkidu Wine, based here in Sonoma, California. And we've been producing wines with Enkidu. I started a label back in 2003. So we've done, 17 years of vintages. Previously, I was at a winery called Cabernet Vineyard, and that was part of the Staehle wine group, and that's where I started in 1987. That's basically where I learned my craft. It was a fantastic place to learn, and I was under the tutelage of the winemaker Jeff Baker, and the assistant winemaker was Pam Starr, and the corporation itself, which involved Acacia, Edna Valley, and Staehle. It was definitely a classroom and a perfect environment in which to learn a craft. So I started with them back in 1987, not long after graduating from UC Davis. I did go to Davis, but I was not an enology graduate. I was basically pre-law and foreign policy and a political science major. And I was a lover of wine from the time, probably since I was like 12 years old. I used to steal wine off the tables during holiday periods from my family members. By the time I was 18 years old, I had a 50-bottle collection of wine, which when I went to Davis, quickly disappeared. But I've been a fan ever since, since I was a young kid. And for what reason, I have no idea. I just was really intrigued by wine, and I continued it on. I took some classes at Davis when I was there. That just enhanced my appreciation of wine and really my lust for it. I became a wine buyer at a restaurant, major restaurant in the East Bay after my graduation. And then shortly thereafter, I went to go work with Cabernet Vineyard up in the mountains above Sonoma, and mainly Cabernet and Sauvignon Blanc, Bordeaux style of wines that we were producing at that time. But it was just a perfect venue, again, for which to learn a trade, learn a craft. Shortly thereafter, after leaving there, I was there for maybe 8 years. And then I went and created a product in the wine packaging division. And basically that is a product we still use on our bottles today. And I did that for a number of years. And so I had a little bit of hiatus, about 5 or 6 years, where I didn't make wine. Needed to get back into it, so in 2003 I had that opportunity, and so I created my own label and started with my first 250 cases of Petite Sirah. And I love Petite Sirah. It's one of my very favorite varietals for which to work. And just because of its versatility, its richness, its boldness, it grows differently. There's so much that goes into this. It has a personality unlike any other I've had to work with. And so then from there I started growing the brand and adding on Burgundy, Pinot Noir, not so much Chardonnay, but Pinot Noir, and other run varietals as well. So Syrah, we added that, and some blends and so forth, until we finally got to the point where I was reluctant on producing Cabernet Sauvignon, but I did so for a couple of my investors and myself, and we ended up having a little bit more than we needed, and so we sold it, and it sold immediately. And I realized that, maybe we need to produce some Cabernet after all. And since that's my background, I love Cabernet. That was a very easy decision to make. And so we now produce, I'd say about a good third, 30%, 33% of our production is now Cabernet Sauvignon, with 3 different levels of Cabernet and so forth. Our wines are made really hands-on. Indigenous yeast for the reds, do cold soaks, so they basically sit in about 4 or 5 days in tank before they start fermenting on their own. Because we are small, we're able to really attend to them closely, so it's not so much risk in doing so, but I think we get a little bit more texture, we get a little more complexity from these wines by doing a cold soak and doing an indigenous yeast fermentation. I frankly get better fermentations from indigenous yeast than I do from cultured yeast, and that's a benefit. And it's part of a philosophy of doing the least amount to your wines to achieve the most complexity and balance. And looking at the integrity of the vineyard from where it came, from whence the varietals come, from where the grapes come. Yeah, you want to obtain that. That also goes along as far as how much we ripen the fruit too. I mean, we don't over-ripen our fruit because I think you lose a sense of place. You know, our wines are, you know, made by, as I say, by hand. I do 4,000 or less cases per year, and so I am literally there with my hands in the must, working with the wines on a daily basis. A lot of time spent in the vineyard as well, but my focus really is on being with the wines on a daily basis. And you know, whereas you have a lot of winemakers with larger companies, you know, a lot of time is spent behind a computer, and they have qualified, you know, really good people underneath them. But that's not where I want to be. I want to be there working with my wines and producing wines that have a lot of integrity to them. And again, there is a degree of complexity and balance in these wines that, and they're compelling. I want these wines to be compelling. I want to show something that's it's again not a corporate produced wine. People say, well, there's so many different wineries out there. What's different about you? It's like, well, we all, especially small wineries, we all have our style, and hopefully it's a style that that people enjoy and that appreciate. There are other winemakers that are doing what I'm doing as well, and they may have a different take on it, but they're producing some outstanding wines. And with my style, it's something that, you know, this is how I interpret winemaking and making wines that are going to be enjoyed by the consumers far and wide, basically. I have a saying that basically I just want to produce wine that can just enhance a moment of your day, realizing that, you know, my wines are not the be-all, end-all, my production is not the be-all, end-all, and what I do is not at all. Basically, we're farmers, but I do want those wines to be enjoyed. We enjoy wine on a daily basis, and even when I'm backpacking, there will be wine with us when we backpack. It's worth the wait to take it with us. And invariably, it's with food. It always surrounds food, and it surrounds friends, and it surrounds, you know, really kind of coming together, breaking bread, and adding to that. And so it's just as integral to us as anything else that we do as far as food. You know, our production here. I've been in Sonoma, as I say. I've been here for about 17 years in producing wines with Enkidu, and we are looking to make a move actually outside of Sonoma. We're probably going to be heading up into the Sierra foothills within the next few months, and that will be a new venture up there where we'll have our own winery. There's some vineyard land as well, and we'll basically relocate up to that place. There's some outstanding grapes growing up there, especially the Rhone varietals, Cabernet Franc as well, Barbera. I will still produce, you know, Pinot Noir, some Cabernet down here, and a little bit of Petit Syrah out of Lake County as well, because I can't leave that vineyard. I just can't leave it alone. So my wife and I, my two daughters are grown and on her own, but my wife and I will move up there, as will and Janie Mum. Janie Mum is my operations manager. She's been with me for 20 years now, and so she and her husband will be moving up there as well in the near future. And Anu, who's on the floor in front of me, he's the winery dog. He will be making a move. I'm sure he'll love it up there, close to the Pacific Crest Trail, where he loves to roam. And anytime he can go backpacking, he's thrilled. So we're looking forward to a really bright future up in that area. And you know, it's been a great journey, and I always invite people to you know, contact us and discuss other aspects. I mean, it's a very complex, in some ways very, very complex, in other ways very simple what we do, but it's also, there's a lot of complexities and different kinds of things that we do that are involved in our day-to-day work and so forth. And it can be just as simple as cracking a bottle of wine and sit down with, you know, some split roasted chicken and cannelli beans and having just a wonderful meal with your friends. So that's Enkidu.